I would argue the main entree. Man, it's hard. Because of Secret Wars, it's kind of dependent how Doomsday does. Arguably, the main entree for 2027 is the sequel to Superman, Man of Tomorrow, announced by James Gunn. That's saying a lot because we're getting the Batman Part 2 finally in 2027. But yes, James Gunn came forward yesterday. The Superman sequel is titled Man of Tomorrow. It's hitting theaters July 9th, 2027. David Corenswet and Nicholas Hoult and James Gunn all shared artwork for the Superman sequel. I want to get into what they all shared specifically because I think it kind of fit what Superman would have shared, what Lex would have shared, and then James Gunn posting something. I think it could mean something about like the plot and where the direction of the movie is going to be. But we're getting sequels to the Batman and Superman both in 2027. Also, members of the cast for Superman, like Isabella Merced, teases that she will return as Hawkgirl for Man of Tomorrow. And then you have people like Aaron Pierre getting active on social media saying, get ready. He has his series, Lanterns, with Damon Lindelof coming out 2026, early 2026. This seems like it could be a star-studded affair. Once again, we have a special guest to join us and talk the sequel announcement for Superman. Big Mike, you're back. You were on for Superman. What was your reaction when you saw that this was the direction for the sequel, the image, the title? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, well, happy to be back. So thanks, boys. But yeah, it seems like they're trying to avoid the mistake that seems to be happening with a lot of superhero movies, is waiting too long in between sequels and trying to strike when the iron's hot. So yeah, it seems like I could also say people were debating whether Superman was a success. Definitely domestically, overseas, maybe a little bit down compared to the peak of the superhero genre, but it seems like they greenlit a sequel this fast is definitely a success in their minds, and they're looking forward to more soups. And I think they recognize that Luthor and particularly Nicholas Hoult was a standout because they're putting him right up there with Superman and David Corenswet to promote the movie. So I think they're learning the right lessons. So let's see if that happens in the actual movie. But so there's some things I love, some things I think could have done better. But it definitely is nice to see that Superman's getting his own sequel and not just being shoved in with other heroes.
Interesting that you say that Superman's getting his own sequel, because this artwork did not feature only Superman. It was Superman and Lex Luthor through all three different types of artwork that were shared. And it has me curious because the last time we thought we were getting a Superman sequel was Batman vs. Superman. We didn't have Man of Steel 2. We have a shared like co-lead type of movie between Batfleck and Henry Cavill's Superman there. I got a little bit nervous that like, okay, you talked about like striking while the iron's hot, learning from mistakes. Are we learning from mistakes if we're having Corenswet share the screen in a sequel here, Flex? If it's the case?
I obviously this looks like it's a sharing moment, but I don't view it the same as Batman versus Superman. Yeah. And even then, that movie, that's still a Superman movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a Superman sequel, right? And we don't need to go down the rabbit hole of the DCU and the Ben Affleck movie that did not come to be and whatnot. But this will be a Superman movie for sure. It's just that Lex Luthor will have a huge role in it, clearly. And again, this is a tease. They are announcing a movie. They already have a date on it. And again, like I agree with Big Mike. This is a big testament to Nicholas Hoult and the Lex Luthor that he portrayed in Superman this summer, because this is a big, like, yeah, he got the green light. Like everyone approves, right? And if you're putting him, like if you're teasing with him with Superman, again, Superman does not need a Lex Luthor for like to tease his own movie. But that just shows how I agree with Mike, how great Nicholas Hoult was and how everyone likes this Lex Luthor. So might as well just throw him up and just give us a little extra tingle here.
It seems like they're going to be co-leads. That and this is also what I wanted to get to. James Gunn has been hesitant to call this a direct, like just a Superman sequel. And then this artwork comes out. And I thought for so long it was going to be, okay, he's teasing at Superman and Supergirl teaming up potentially to face Brainiac. And when I saw this artwork, I'm like, oh, this is why James Gunn is the best. Like that would be the obvious thing to do. And what would be something unique or something that, okay, you would never anticipate this, keep audiences on their toes? What if Lex Luthor was an adversary of Superman, but also potentially teaming up with Superman within the movie? There was the Sony Pictures CEO said just today, superhero movies have to add something different. They have to have an emotional connection. You can't make a bad movie, end quote. And when I saw that, I was just like, yeah, this is why James Gunn's so good. And that's why he won't let superhero movies die, because he's going to do stuff you don't anticipate and also just you haven't seen before, you know? So I just thought that was kind of a misdirection a little bit. It was almost obviously going to be Supergirl, right, Mike? And all of a sudden it's Lex Luthor.
I think this isn't totally haven't been done before, because I immediately thought of Loki's turn from heel and Thor. So I see a comparison there. Take a villain that is popular and then make him sort of an anti-hero. I do think Gunn could be playing the long game, because there are a bunch of really interesting stories from the comics with Luthor. He could join this, become President Luthor, and that would be interesting. Not to get too political, that might be topical. Billionaire businessman, some people love, some people hate, becomes president. You know, that Gunn seems to be not shying away too much from being topical at that point. So be an interesting storyline. But that's immediately what I thought of. It was like Loki and Thor. And I think he's doing this to try and get around the angle Superman's a boring character by spicing it up, so to speak. And yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at on it.
He's a creative guy. You know, I'm with you. Loki is a good shout, because that is exactly, he's a main antagonist. He's the main antagonist for not only first Thor, first Avengers, but like then he's just someone you can't trust, but at the same time loves his brother. They do it, that emotional connection you have with Loki. Absolutely. And we got to give props where they're deserved. Mike, you talked about bringing in the green suit. It looks like we're getting the green suit. We're getting the rough
for this.
we're getting the rough and tough Lex Luthor to actually fight against Superman, and then probably alongside Superman. Ricky Flex, you got to be pumped about that.
Yeah, like it's Lex getting his hands dirty. Like it's his Thanos fine, I'll do it myself moment, where in this and Superman this summer you saw he had the Hammer of Baravia / Ultraman doing, like, being his bronze, you know, and he's the brains. Instead, he's gonna do both, right? And this is like some of the comics that Mike has alluded to, and some of like the animated movies and shows with Superman and the battles with Lex, something that we have loved, and we're finally going to see it on the big screen that we've never seen before, right? And again, it goes to the creativity of James Gunn, and I think he's like the person to do it, to kind of formulate. Again, I like the Loki shout as well, to kind of formulate this supporting role. Again, I don't look at them as co-leads. I know the posters saying it. I still view it as kind of like the.
You don't know. It's just
I know, but I just don't think they'll do.
You know, why wasn't he willing to call it a Superman sequel?
Because it's going to be a huge ensemble, which is similar to like Supergirl is going to be in it. Like I'm looking at this, like I know Mike, we had a text chain, the three of us, and I agree with Mike. Like I view like a House of Brainiac type of storyline here from the comic last year. I view Supergirl is going to be in this. I view a Lobo is going to be in this. I view a Super Family potentially is going to be in this, similar to some of the comic runs here. I just view this as going to be a huge Superman, Super Family ordeal, and he doesn't want to say this is a direct Superman sequel, because you have a Supergirl movie coming out next year, and you want to hype up that movie, which is going to directly tie into this one the following year.
It could be like the opposite of what he was saying about the Superman movie that came out this year. He kept on saying this is a Superman movie, the Justice Gang are in it, but it's inherently a Superman movie, and maybe it is like just the scale of it, the size of it, also the amount of characters in it, that he doesn't want to say it's a straight up Superman movie, because there's a lot of people that will be getting love probably from this. I also like the way that the artwork was shared, because if you watched it, it was David Cornsweet shared an image, and it was Lex Luthor in the suit next to Superman. Lex Luthor has like a sour face, and like Superman has like his elbow on his shoulder, like leaning on him, like friendly type of Superman. And then you had Nicholas Hoult share an image, and it was those two fighting. And it kind of shows that, like, and it's Lex Luthor getting like uppercutted by Superman. And so it's like, okay, he views them as adversaries. And then James Gunn just shared another image of the two that I didn't look too deep into. It's just them kind of side by side. But I like how they kind of are buying into their personalities with what they shared in the art on their Instagram. Mike, did you see those? Like the specific posts from each?
I didn't see the specific posts. I saw like the artwork in total. I didn't see what they individually posted. I saw that they did post, and same with Aaron Pierre and Isabel Merced, all of them responding. But one point I want to point out is that the fact that it says Man of Tomorrow and it's over both of them, I know historically that refers to Superman, but that could be referring to Lex here as well.
Ooh, both of them. Men of Tomorrow.
And then I'm also thinking,
I don't think it's men, because I think like
well, it's not actually.
It's
like,
who is the Man of Tomorrow?
Exactly.
Right. And I know that's why. Not that it's actually gonna be the title. Mike, you got what I was saying.
That was nice.
But it also makes sense why like Supergirl, that was supposed to be the Woman of Tomorrow.
Yeah,
they dropped that title. We were wondering why they dropped that title.
Makes sense now.
Yeah, now it's like, all right, well, you have the Man of Tomorrow. Like again, like I know it's not the same as like the moniker as Man of Steel, but again, Superman has been referred to that, and obviously Lex Luthor, a guy that is viewed as like this genius tech guru, like he views himself as the human man he views himself as the Man of Tomorrow. So I love the connection there, Big Mike.
Yeah, one other thing I wanted to point up is that I could see this playing two ways, where like this Superman is dealing with a threat and he doesn't have the smarts, and he goes to Luthor, and you just know he's going to eat that up because he finally feels vindicated that I am the better, I'm smarter, I'm more intelligent, I am the better man. And Superman's humble enough to not let that stop him for the greater good. Less likely scenario is Luthor stumbles upon, Brainiac or whatever the big threat is and has to go beg for Superman's help, which, let's be honest, is less likely. So
yeah, I will say, so when this news got dropped, the first thing I did, I went to HBO Max and I watched Man of Tomorrow, the animated movie.
It's such a good one.
Yeah. And obviously Lobo is a huge part in that. Superman needs Lex's help to defeat Parasite. And I'm like, and you didn't get the green suit, but you got an image of the green suit. You had Lex in prison. He had to get out of prison to help Superman. Like you have so many things that correlates directly to the Superman movie and the potential sequel here. So I'm not saying Parasite is going to be the villain. I'm not saying it's going to be exactly the same movie as Man of Tomorrow that's on HBO Max right now, but you definitely see the through lines and the potential there for some similarities.
Yeah, Parasite's a good one too. That's a tough villain. That's not just the kryptonite trope for Superman.
It's got to be Brainiac though, guys. Like
big bad. Yeah,
you have to have
Ra's al Ghul and Batman Begins sort of situation.
Like we're talking Superman big screen, and we're talking Lex and Superman either fighting against each other, then joining forces. It has to be a force that's big enough and cinematic enough. And someone that hasn't been done before has been Brainiac. And with Lex Luthor being, kind of portrayed as this tech guru in this last movie, it makes sense that Brainiac would be the big bad for the next movie.
It does. If you talk about Supergirl too, that storyline they're adapting, it goes deep into Krypton. And I think they're going to explore the message, which was probably my biggest gripe with that whole movie. So I think it's going to go into, if Supergirl can help set that up, and then Brainiac obviously comes from Krypton, it'll explore more of Superman. We got the Earth backstory. Now we're going to go towards Krypton. I think, especially with Lobo, James Gunn is starting to piece together the space aspect, which makes sense if he's eventually going to go down to the New Gods and eventually do Darkseid. That's way down if that ever happens. But I could see just immediately like starting to explore Krypton and Brainiac. And Brainiac is probably the best film. Every Superman fan has been waiting for Brainiac to be the main villain.
Yeah, and clearly, like from Superman, like they dove into the Krypton ethos of it all, but they didn't dive head first. They kind of put their toe in, right? And obviously, Supergirl, like we talked about, even just in Superman, she's drunk. She's probably again still in sorrows after what happened on Krypton, right? So they're probably going to attack that more in Supergirl. And it again, it's just all building up probably to this, again, the Superman sequel, where it's not a direct Superman sequel per James Gunn. It's going to refer probably to just Krypton in its entirety. Who's the best person to do that? Brainiac.
And it'd be a reason to get Lex out of prison because, like, you need him, and you need him to assist Superman, who obviously may be beyond his understanding of what's going on with Brainiac, might need some help. But I also wanted to talk about James Gunn. This the timing is so good because the day we are recording, there is a Peacemaker episode dropping tonight, and the way he teased Peacemaker and this episode and like for this entire season, he said it's a prequel for Man of Tomorrow. And then after this artwork drops, and he's talking about huge cameos, is there a chance, Mike, that we see Lex Luthor by the end of Peacemaker season 2?
I think so. I think there's gonna be a big one. I mean, like, it could also Holt's a huge star, but it's not that hard to keep it under wraps. He's not nowhere near as impressive as
he's done TV before.
No Way Home, like trying to keep that under wraps. That was impressive. I think they could do that, but also maybe even Superman could be Corn Sweat because he's still he's ascending, but he's still not massively known yet. So we could keep it under wraps there. So I'm thinking just to help connect the dots for this universe that he's building, I think having one of those 2 cameos is definitely going to help establish, what he's trying to build.
Ricky, we were hesitant. Do you think he's actually showing up in Peacemaker this season?
I can't deny the hints that he's showing up. I can't deny it. I don't want him to. And it's more for the character. But you are right. Nicholas Hoult, again, did a Hulu series, for God's sakes. This guy is not like Leo DiCaprio, not going to do a TV series. No, this guy can do a TV series. And I think James Gunn has set it up well where it's not crazy for him to show up, right? Mm-hmm. I just view the Lex Luthor character. I view Superman as characters that belong on the big screen. But I can't deny the hints. I can't.
Is there any chance that some of Peacemaker getting filmed overlaps some of the filming?
They did.
Yeah, that's right. I thought I read that. So
James Gunn is doing a podcast right now. I didn't listen to
the latest episode. Yeah, he said that. Yeah.
So like he's doing one for Peacemaker, and he's doing for after every episode, like it's the Peacemaker official podcast. He said he was interviewing the guy who plays Economos. Harcourt was there, and I forgot the woman who's playing the Hispanic character on Peacemaker. I forgot what character that character is. It's in like the Batman world or something like that. But they were saying that they would visit the set of Superman. It was the production was almost coinciding with Peacemaker. So it would have been easy for a couple days. Lex Luthor goes to the other set and films a couple scenes, and you have the showrunner James Gunn, the director of Superman James Gunn. And this is the last thing I do want to talk about before, Mike, we send you off and on your way, and you'll be back for whatever DC we want to talk about. We do have to talk about Clayface a little bit after this because we're seeing a lot of stuff right now. But James Gunn, since he has started the DCU, he has set out this phase 1, the Gods and Monsters, chapter 1. He has done Creature Commandos. He has done Superman. He has done Peacemaker season 2. He's doing Man of Tomorrow. Who knows what else he's actually written for the DCU? He's probably doing Creature Commandos season 2. That is an insane amount. Like, the work rate is not speeding down. Like, he is the hamster on the wheel right now. When is he going to lay off the gas, Mike?
I'm hoping he co-writes for Man of Tomorrow. And I'm going to say it because inevitably your quality is going to dip. Like, Stephen King is a good example of this.
Yeah.
He, one of the best horror authors, made some great books. He made some stinkers. And he wrote some TV shows. So but he's also very prolific. So it's the risk of burnout because he will have to eventually position into a more of a producer, executive, oversee role. You cannot be directly involved with everything. So I'm hoping after Man Tomorrow, maybe he collaborates with someone. He already said Peacemaker, he only directed 3 episodes this year. So he's already starting to tailor it back. And I think I don't think he wrote all of it himself. I may be wrong, but I think I read that. So he's starting to, taper it back. So I'm thinking he already is letting someone else write. I forgot her name, but she's pretty good for Woman of Tomorrow. He has sent high praise for her. And Lindelof is obviously doing Green Lanterns, which I'm stoked for. But Man of Tomorrow is his last, until Justice League. I think that's his last huge involvement as director and co-writer.
Yeah, I think it was Anna Nogueira is doing Supergirl, and I think she was also slated to do Teen Titans. I don't know if that's actually happening, but yeah, the burnout, dude, it's scary, how much he is doing at this time. And Ricky Flicks and I had been talking about for so long, we're nervous, but the real true test of what the DCU can be is when we actually go away from James Gunn. But he literally is hands-on for all of these projects. It's never mind. It's just a James Gunn universe. He's not letting up at all. And if you're a gambling man, you got to think the hot streak can't continue forever,
No.
So we just, it's just kind of scary to think about. I don't want the drop off to ever happen, but filmmakers, sometimes they do one that doesn't hit, I don't want that to be Superman 2.
So I agree with you guys. And you already could see that James Gunn is taking, he is dialing it back, after Peacemaker, he has nothing slated on his IMDb personally attached. I do think, all right, so if I just take a step back, I do think it was the right move for him to kind of, again, this is his studio now, it's his universe, and they needed to get Superman right. He's like, all right, I'll just do it, right? It set the tone here for my universe, and also our most important character that we haven't gotten right with our fans 100% wise, need to do that. I think you need to carry that out because you need to keep that tone with that character. I think he should do Man of Tomorrow. I just think he shouldn't do anything else. I think you see what you talked about with Peacemaker. Yeah, obviously Supergirl, you pass that baton off. Obviously, all these they're trying to find Batman, Brave and the Bold, and whatnot. He clearly is not doing everything, and I think he's clearly again, he is now being more of an overseer. I think he should still do Superman if he still can, because just to keep that through line.
How he says we're working on Wonder Woman script. We're working on Brave and the Bold script. He doesn't want to say the writer because he doesn't want to embarrass them. He says, I'm nervous. He's just writing everything. He's just doing it all. And I think that pretty much covers the Man of Tomorrow conversation. Did you guys have anything else to add before we talk a little Clayface?
I do just want to add one quick thing. 2 years after Superman, we're getting this movie, right? Obviously, the Batman Part 2, that looks bad, 5 years, whatever. All right. But again, what I was just saying, you had to get this character right. It's similar to Marvel. What did they do at the beginning of the MCU? They did Iron Man. That ended up being their core character. They did Iron Man 2 only a couple years later. Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
And they did. And again, they did all these other movies, but they did an Iron Man 2. So it's not crazy, that maybe following a similar template. And then you also look at the name of this movie, Man of Tomorrow, again, a moniker similar to what else did we see? Batman Begins to The Dark Knight, right? Mm-hmm. So James Gunn, I think, is just taking pieces of what has worked in the superhero theatrical releases in history and saying, all right, let's just piece together my universe and take what's worked and also just make sure that we get this guy right, our main guy, that, again, we have not gotten really right since the Christopher Reeve era.
I saw people complaining on the timeline. They were talking about the Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters. They were saying, here comes... they were saying Superman Legacy when it was titled that. It was Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And then they went through Lanterns and went through everything that was initially slated. And people were like, yeah, this was all a lie. I'm like, you can't announce a sequel to Superman initially because you don't know what the success level is going to be of the project. You can't predict that we're going to have, Superman 2 is going to be 2 years. It's going to be in 2027 before a single DCU project came out. That wouldn't make any sense. So it's got to have some flexibility. I do like the title. If it just sticks to Man of Tomorrow, it is kind of like The Dark Knight. That's kind of sick.